Alright guys, today I'm going to be explaining to you about your flash drive and creating a couple directories for Adobe, and then also how to use your data files and stuff. Um, Again, I'm Alex, and I'm in Adobe. I'm in OCP B right now, so I'm going to explain a little bit on how to do all this. So first we have our own flash drive, and since it's named Kingston, we're going to keep it named for myself. So to redo that, you're going to always want to keep like a flash drive that you know what your name would be, or a name that you use. So you're always going to, what I just did was right clicked it and clicked rename. And so I'm just going to rename it my name so I always know it's my flash drive. And then it changes right to my flash drive, and right now it's a blank flash drive, so that's about that. Now what you're always going to want to do is when you're working in an OCP, you're going to want to have like a file or a folder for that. So like if you're working in OCP A, you want an HTML one, or if you're working in OCP B, you want an Adobe one, and then some subfolders like Illustrator and Photoshop. So to do that, you're going to right click and create a new folder. And since OCPB has two Adobes, we're going to create a main one that's just Adobe. And then we're going to go into that one and create two, which is Illustrator and Photoshop. And it's the same thing, going up to new folder and typing in Illustrator and Photoshop. So to begin with, when you're in Illustrator, you're always going to need your data files for each chapter. So you're going to want to go over to your Blackboard and sign in and go to your OCP. And for each chapter, they have data files at the very top of each chapter. So say we're in chapter 1 and we're ready to work in chapter 1. Well, you're going to need the data files from chapter 1. So you're going to want to go down to the data files and click download here. Now what it's going to do is it's going to bring up this downloaded, it should have brought up a place to unzip it, and you're going to want to click on your thumb drive in the directory to unzip it, but we might already have it downloaded. So so it comes up like this, and you want to click it, and these are all of the files that you want for your Adobe Chapter 1 that you're going to work with. So what I do is in my Illustrator, I would create a folder for chapter 1. And I don't know, right now I'm in the habit of always keeping it lowercase and no spaces. I guess that was from a habit from OCPA and just doing all the HTML work, so that's what my habit's been, so I've been on to that. And then in chapter 1, you could even create a file that says data files so that it keeps it nice and organized. And now since you have this, you just want to copy them and bring them over. And now you have all your data files you need for chapter 1. So there's all that, and that's all for your thumb drive. Now when you're getting into Illustrator and stuff and you work and you get into what would be FileZilla, you will have your own thumb drive, right? And right now it didn't rename mine, so let's see. So you would go to your computer and find yours. So the computer has one of its own, but then where's our flash drive? Here's our flash drive, and see it has our Adobe one, and then our Illustrator and Photoshop. And now this is all our stuff that you want to keep on your left side. This is nothing you want to bring to the right side. So, and all this stuff is all to the left side. But also, when you're going to be turning stuff in, you want a directory on your FileZilla so it keeps it organized so that you know exactly where to turn it in too. So, in our FileZilla, we're going to create a directory, and all you do is you go down, you right-click and create directory, and don't mess with anything except what's highlighted right there. And just like our little habit we had, we keep it undercased and no spaces, and we'll just type in Illustrator. Actually, we're going to type in Adobe, my bad. And then we'll go from Adobe to Illustrator. So you'll click on Adobe, then you'll do the same thing, and you'll keep Illustrator. And then in Illustrator, you'll also want Chapter 1. Ooh, I right-clicked. So then you want Chapter 1. And it's all lowercase because that's our habit, and no spaces. So that's what you'll do for your FileZilla, and that's how you keep it organized and clean and keeping Miss C happy. So now that we've done all this to get ready for Illustrator, now we've got Illustrator somewhere around here, and we're gonna mess around with it for a little bit. Now in the book, I'm on just 1.6, and it's got almost all the tools that we need that we'd be using in the near future. So it's got our selection tool and then our direct selection tool. So the direct selection tool is more of clicking exactly what you need, then the selection tool is clicking the whole object. It's got your type tool, so you can create a type box just like anywhere else. A rectangle box, and if you click these boxes with the little arrow in the corner right here, you click it, you right click it, and it comes up with more options. So like instead of a rectangle, you make an ellipse and it's more of a circle, or a star or something like that. Or like in your type, if you don't want to type, you can type on a path or a vertical down type, stuff like that. And so if you right click, you get stuff like that. There's a whole bunch of other tools. We've got the scale tool and the free transformation tool that we'll be using. There's also, farther as you get on, there's the gradient tool and the blend tool, and that's all as the chapters go on, you'll see. But then down here at the bottom, there are two things that are very good for you to use, are fill and stroke. So the fill would be like what would fill the whole image, like in color. So there's going to be a color in there when you bring up something. And then the little box is the stroke, and the stroke is like the outline of it. So it would be like an outline going around it in any color that you pick it in. So now let's see if we can pull up a Chapter 1 assignment and see what we can do real quick. Alright, so we go to File, and we click Open. And we go down to our flash drive, Adobe, Illustrator, Chapter 1, data files, and and then we'll open 1.9, and that's on page 188. So it's one of our project builders that we'll do, and so it comes up just like this, and so it doesn't exactly look like what's on the picture, but it has some directions that you will use. So as we go on, 1 was to open 1.9, and now 2 is to use the direct selection tool, which is the right one, not the left one, and to click the edges of the star. So what it would mean would be like that. So basically to select the star. And now in 3 it says to move two outer anchor points, which as you see as you move along, these are anchor points. It kind of highlights it, and if you go down, these are paths. So anchor points are more like points in the star that are actual points, like two paths coming together for a point. That would be an anchor point. So you want to move two outer anchor points of the star far from the center. So use your direct selection tool and you just stretch it all the way out. Just like that. And then in 4 it says to move 4 of the inner points towards the center. So you'll do the same thing. You'll find an anchor point and you'll move them in. And it said to find 4, so we have to move 4. Alright, now it says to select the entire star, so you just want to kind of double click the star. Alright, so it says reflective copy of the star across the horizontal axis. And in this instance, we will use the reflect tool, which is in rotate, but if you right click it, then it comes out to the reflect tool. So then you click the star. Actually, you double click on the reflect icon, and it says that you're going to want to reflect it across the horizontal axis, so not vertical but the horizontal, and that's all it asks for. So but you're reflecting a copy, so you got to make sure you click copy and not OK. So a second star pops up. And it says to fill the new star with the orange swatch. So to get colors, you can choose a color in the fill, or there's also a different way where you can use your color thing up here, and it's got all different colors that you can pick from right there. And sometimes it's different. Sometimes a box comes down where you can fill a whole bunch of colors. So it said it wanted like an orange one. I can't exactly. So there's orange. And then for number 8, it says group the two stars together. So you're going to want the direct selection tool, and to click two different things in the same picture, you're going to hit shift. Like you'll click one, hit shift, and click the second one. But you have to be holding shift so that they both group or both select. And then group is under object, and so you're just going to go down to object and click group, and so now both your objects are now grouped. And so it says copy the group and paste it in the back. So what you're going to want to do is go to edit and click copy, and then go back to edit and click paste in the back. And it doesn't show right off bat, but it is pasted in the back if you move it around, I believe. See, there's your star in the back. There's 2 of them, and so that would be the one that you've copied in the back. And then it says fill the copies with black. So you're going to want to select your back one and fill it with black. And now it says using the arrow key, move the black copies 5 points to the right and 5 points down. So you'll want these edged up together. And then you want to select that one and move it 5 points to the right and 5 points down using your arrow key. So as you see, as I'm hitting the arrow key, it's moving down, and that was 5, and now 5 points down. And you see how that black little part came out at the back. And now it says select the orange star using the direct selection tool. So we'll select the orange star. and it says create a copy of the orange star and paste it in the back. So now we're pasting the orange star in the back. And again, just like the first one, it's right there. There's 2 copies. So, and it says fill the copy with black. So we're going to select this one and create it black. And then move this one right back on top so you know that it's there. And then it says rotate the black copy 8 degrees. So actually, if you click the black star and you go to your rotate tool and you double click it, a rotate will come up and you can put in any angle that you want. So it says 8 degrees here, and you're not making a copy, so you're just hitting OK this time. And it rotates 8 degrees. And so now we've got this picture. And now it says to apply the yellow fill to the orange star, which now means that our orange star will turn yellow. Oh, I need the direct selection tool to just click our orange star. Always remember that the direct selection tool will click one and the selection tool will click all of it. So you need your direct selection tool to make your orange star yellow. And then it also says to add a stroke, a 1-point black stroke for both yellow stars. So if you hold shift and click your other yellow star, you can find your stroke right here. And now that we have our stroke, we can click black. And there should be in your little side panel, there is a part to make sure it is a 1-point stroke. Sometimes it also pops up in the top. It depends how your Illustrator is formatted, but it will, it's either right there or on top. And so now you have a 1-point stroke for both of your copies. And now it says to save your work and you are done. So of course we're going to save it, and we'll save as exactly what it says in the book, which is window sign. Right, and so now that you have it saved, and you make sure that you save it. Oh, see, I was about to save it in the data files, but you just need to save it in chapter 1, because this is not a data file, this is your finished work. So you just want to save it and make sure it's just in your chapter 1 in your Illustrator file, which you've done because it's in your flash drive, it's in your Adobe file, it's in your Illustrator file, and it's in your chapter 1. So now you can click save, and it saves it as an Illustrator file. Now you have to save it as a PDF to turn it in. So the Illustrator file is your copy for you to use, but now if you want to turn it into FileZilla, you need to turn it into a PDF, because the Illustrator files hold too much space for FileZilla and it'll kill our server very fast. And so what you have to do is click File, so when you do click Save in the Illustrator, this will pop up and you just click OK, because you want to save it as an Illustrator file, and you don't, this is all default stuff for Illustrator, so you just click OK. And so now you want to save it as a PDF, so you would go File and then Save a Copy. And so you can save a copy in your same thing. Make sure you're in your flash drive, your folder, or your Adobe folder, your Illustrator folder, and your chapter 1. And it's a window sign. You can keep the same thing, but the only thing you have to change is this drop bar. And this drop bar, you have to click Adobe PDF, because that's the PDF file that you need. So when you do that, you're going to click Save. And a thing's going to pop up that will ask you a couple questions, and of course, it's a PDF for Illustrator, but the only thing you need to make sure you have clicked is this optimize for fast web view. And so once you click that, and always view as a PDF after saving, just so that it's always viewing it, and it's always a fast read when it comes up. So now you can save your PDF, and that's also saved into your folder, and it also pops up. And so this is our finished work, and that's it, and that's our finished work. And so now we need to turn it in. And so what we have to do is go to our I exited out of it. You need your and you need to go onto your FileZilla now. So now that you're on your FileZilla, you sign into your FileZilla, and now that we're in our FileZilla, you're gonna find where your document's at. So mine's deep into the into the file. And so now that you've found your Adobe file, you'll go Illustrator in Chapter 1. Now you're in your Chapter 1 on your FileZilla. You also have to find your Chapter 1 on your side. So it's in your flash drive, your Adobe, your Illustrator. And it comes up with your Chapter 1, so you're going to want to click your Chapter 1, and there are your 2 assignments. Now the thing is, you want to always turn in the PDF and not the Illustrator file. Like I said, it'll take up too much space on the server and stuff like that. So that's why we save it as a PDF to begin with, because that's what we turn into Blackboard and FileZilla. We don't turn in the Illustrator. The Illustrator is your copy if you ever want to make changes or use it for yourself. So you always drag over, and there it is. It has just been put on FileZilla. It says successfully, so it has been turned in. And so now the only thing we have left to do is to submit it to Backboard. So what you're going to want to do is come down to your Chapter 1 project builder, and always remember you're going to want to write a submission and just make a few little, like I like to do, project builder 1, and you're always going to highlight it. But the first thing we have to do before that is go to our directory on our PTC web dev. So you do your PTC web dev / your name, and now you find your folder that you use it in.
I used the wrong one. Sorry, that's my fault. I have too many. There you go.
And there's our folder that we put it in. And so you find your folder, your Illustrator, and your Chapter 1. And here's our PDF that we turned in. So you're going to want to right click it and copy the link address, because that's how we turn it in. So then we go back to Blackboard, and our written submission, we're going to want to highlight the project builder 1, and this little chain just popped up and it turned black. So you're going to want to click it, and in the link path you're going to want to paste. But also you're going to want to make sure that you drop this drop down bar and make sure you open a new window blank. That helps the teacher out tremendously. And so then after that you want to insert and submit. See how yours has now come up as a link? It is a link for you. And if you ever want to check your work to make sure you've done it 100%, you can always save draft, and you can save draft and click on it, and your work will come up. And if that, then you can submit it after that. And that's the lesson for today. Thanks, guys.